Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Media Pulse, the show where we help you make sense of Thai politics.
Again, we have to say that it has been another busy week, and it has actually been very busy.
Yeah.
With all the attention focusing on the peace talks between Thailand and Cambodia in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The talks were brokered by Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. And of course, we are glad that things went well, and both sides agreed to a ceasefire.
Yeah, peace seems to be in progress for now.
All right. But the big question is how long the ceasefire will last.
Yeah.
Don't forget that there are still as many as 100,000 villagers living as displaced persons in temporary shelters along the border.
Yeah, also businesses are still waiting to recover around the border area.
Yeah, true. I mean, these villagers want nothing more than having a chance to go back to their normal lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the political scenes. I'm sure we all know that the use of the so-called pork barrel tactics by politicians, especially Thai politicians, to appease their constituencies, our voters, is a long-standing feature, right? In most countries anyway, and particularly in Thailand. These practices have taken various forms, ranging from infrastructure projects to direct handouts, disguised as relief funds, tailored to suit different occasions. And over time, such actions have become so commonplace that many politicians treat them as a given.
Yeah.
And what the bigger problem is that there seems to be no serious oversight, accountability regarding these practices.
Yeah, so that's why it came as a shock when all of a sudden a high-profile member of parliament was last week penalized for engineering an allocation of state budget to finance pork barrel projects to please his constituencies. And that politician happens to be one of the deputy house speakers, which is a position that should exemplify high ethical standards and serve as a role model for others, right? I mean, the Constitutional Court found Pichet Chuamuangphan guilty of constitutional violation through the misuse of state budget.
And as a penalty, the Constitutional Court ordered the MP of Thai Party for Chiang Rai province removed from his post as Deputy House Speaker. Quite a heavy penalty, right?
Yeah.
But even more than that, the court also disqualified him as MP and imposed on him a 10-year political ban, meaning that he will not be able to run for office again in the next 1 decade.
Yeah, and it's going to be difficult for him because now he's 62, right?
Yeah.
And the court reasoned that this old political veteran was found to have violated Article 144 of the Constitution by proposing a fund of 178 million baht. That's about 4.5 million US dollars. And that's from the annual budget of the fiscal year 2025. And there's another chunk of funds as well, 594 million baht, and that's about 18 million US dollars for year 2026.
The projects were to be implemented in Kun Pichet's electoral constituencies in the northern province of Chiang Rai.
Yeah.
Officially, the projects were designed to promote public participation, women's empowerment, and development of youth potential. And these are very good, right?
Sounds good.
But critics see them as nothing more than pork barrel projects.
Yeah.
And the complaint that led to the court's ruling was filed by a group of opposition MPs who argued that the projects were clearly examples of pork barrel spending intended to provide political advantage to the Deputy House Speaker.
Now let's look at Article 144. It says that no legislator shall propose or redirect state funds for personal gains. Now, the court ruling, however, is being seen by some political analysts and activists as having a much wider ramification than it appears to be.
Now, some former senators believe that it should not be Pichet, the Deputy House Speaker, alone who should bear responsibility for what happened. They argue that the whole cabinet and the MPs who voted for the budget bills should also be penalized.
That's pretty much everyone.
เรื่องไกลลีกิจวัฒนะ a well-known so-called chronic petitioner
Chronic.
wasted no time in filing a petition with the Anti-Corruption Commission. He asked the commission to ask the Constitutional Court to take up the case.
Yeah, he recalled that despite objection by opposition MPs to the proposed funding in question during the first reading of the budget bill by the House of Representatives in May, the cabinet made no attempts to make any corrections afterwards. Government MPs subsequently overwhelmingly voted in its favor as well. So he said, so Pichet should not be the only person to bear the brunt. The whole cabinet and the 332 MPs who voted for the budget bill should also bear responsibility.
Of course, what Rungkai obviously wants or hopes for is for the Paetongtarn cabinet and all the MPs in the government parties who voted for the budget bills to suffer the same fate as Deputy House Speaker Pichet at the hands of the Constitutional Court. And of course, that's not the only case being raised against the Paetongtarn government as far as the issue of budget diversion or misuse of state budget is concerned. Another serial petitioner. We have so many.
The chronic and serial.
And this time it's Sisuwan Chanya, the very familiar face, right?
Yep.
Kun Sisuwan had earlier filed a petition also with the National Anti-Corruption Commission accusing the Paetongtarn government of violating Article 144 of the Constitution over its funding for the much publicized digital wallet scheme.
So the case had to do with the decision last year by her government to divert funds of 30.5 billion baht. That's about $1 billion actually, initially earmarked for payment of loan interest owed by state-owned banks to finance the digital wallet scheme instead. So the budget diversion was approved as part of the budget bill for fiscal year 2025 with overwhelming support from both MPs and senators.
Sisuwan said that the National Anti-Corruption Commission accepted the case for consideration in June this year and is legally required to decide whether to forward the case to the Constitutional Court within 60 days. The deadline, therefore, is August the 9th, which is today.
So today's the day.
But we haven't heard anything from the anti-corruption agency yet.
Yeah, don't forget that besides the legal challenges we have just outlined, Prime Minister Paetongtarn is also awaiting a decision on her political future by the Constitutional Court in connection with her disastrous phone call with the Cambodian strongman Hun Sen. So no wonder then why most political analysts and media outlets have already started looking at post-Paetongtarn scenarios.
The talks this day focus on not on whether or not Paetongtarn will survive or not, but the talks focus on who the next Prime Minister will be.
Okay. And it's a very short list, actually. Another story we're going to discuss today involves what is being seen as a political vendetta and an area of over 5,000 rai or about 8 square kilometers called Khao Kradong. I'm sure many of our viewers may not be able to picture it, but if we say Chiang Arena and Chiang International Circuits, then you might be able to relate. Apart from the venues, there are restaurants, hotels, and businesses that serve as an economic lifeline for Buriram province, the political stronghold of the Phumjai Thai party.
Nevin Chitchop, also known as the de facto leader of the party and one of the most recognized political veterans, is also the man who has been credited for transforming this empty space called Khao Kradong into the economic foundation of the entire city.
Yeah, but there's a problem because the land in which the Chitchop's urban development stands has been under legal threat ever since Nevin uttered the phrase "Man chopแล้วครับนาย." If you remember, it's over, boss. And that's a famous phrase that he said during the fallout between him and former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra.
And we'll come back to the issue of the land later on.
Yeah.
But for the time being, here's a brief background information about the
Yeah,
relationship.
we have to outline the
It's quite
relationship.
complicated, very long running story, right? So this is a brief background information about the relationship between former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra and Nevin Chichop, the founder of Buriram United football team.
Right, yeah.
A major turning point in Nevin Chichop's political career was his appointment as minister to the PM's office at the time of the Thaksin government, right? At that particular point of time, Nevin was considered a close ally of Thaksin and played a very important role in Thailand's political landscape.
Yeah.
However, following the military coup d'etat in 2006, Nevin was disqualified from politics and barred from running for office. In a way, it can be said that he went through that trouble and a lot of other troubles for Thaksin.
Yeah. Well, despite this, he went on to form the group called Friends of Nevin and played a key role in helping to establish Pichet Chuamuangphan's government. And by 2009, escalating political conflicts involving the United Front for Democracy Against Dictatorship, or what you call the Red Shirts, led to a fallout between Nevin and Thaksin. And that event gave rise to the now famous phrase we mentioned, "It's over, boss."
Yeah. Now back to the land is a common problem in Thailand, especially in rural areas where lands are occupied and used without proper title deeds. Sometimes they are bought and sold ambiguously, and a lot of times politicians are involved.
Yes, with these lands, in some cases, it has a good ending where the person who uses the land actually gets a title deed, but in many cases it turned into a very ugly litigation. But in the case of Khao Kadong, there are 20 plots and which covers about 46 hectares where both the Chiang Arena and Chiang International Circuit are located, and they were deemed illegally acquired as ruled by the Supreme Court in 2018 and the Central Administrative Court in 2023. Now, the courts ruled that the land belongs to the State Railway of Thailand.
So by law, Nevin and other landowners are required to either give up the land or sign a rental agreement with the State Railway of Thailand to continue to be there. But the land department has been accused of foot dragging on this issue. The Khao Kradong land dispute resurfaced as a major issue when the Ministry of Interior, under the supervision of Acting Prime Minister Phumtham Vechayachai, ordered the land title deeds covering over 5,000 rai revoked.
You know, the land system in Thailand is very strange. The measurement is just unique.
That's right.
You have to try and bear with us. So the move is intended to return the land to the State Railway of Thailand, or SRT, in accordance with rulings from the Supreme Court and Supreme Administrative Court, which clearly affirm that the land in question is owned by the SRT. Now the question is, why now? Especially when the country is being caught up in so many crises, ranging from Trump's tariffs to the border clashes between Thailand and Cambodia.
No, in the eyes of many political analysts, this may be a case of political vendetta aimed at Pumchai Thai parties. Ever since the party left the Pheu Thai-led coalition government in the middle of Prime Minister Paetongtarn's scandal over the phone conversation with Cambodian strongman Hun Sen. But according to Phumtham, this is not a political move to get back at the Phumchai Thai party as widely speculated. He claimed that this is to right a wrong because the land department has for several years refused to revoke the land rights as ruled by the courts.
He also said that there's a committee which was set up on July 21st to investigate why previous Director General of the Land Department had refused to invalidate the occupation rights or the land title deeds, even though the law empowered them to do so. So they obviously are dragging their feet, and people are asking why, especially Phumtham is curious all of a sudden now. But, let's not forget who the former Interior Minister who controls the Land Department was. So it was Anutin Chanvirakul from the Phumchai Thai party.
So now with the Pheu Thai party through Phumtham Vechayachai in charge of the ministry, a purge of office holders in the ministry left over from the previous boss, that is Kun Anutin. The purge is going to be a sure thing.
Is that natural?
In fact, it has been customary in Thai politics that once you are in power, you only put the people you trust in office. It's not even about putting the right man on the right job. It's more about putting people that serve your interests in the right place.
So reactivating the Khao Kradong scandal is only a precursor of what is going to happen next, it seems.
All right.
So yeah, I guess that's it for this week. A lot of difficult terms. Land measurements, pork barrel.
This is certainly a very interesting, long-running story. It has been making headlines for years now, but finally, I mean, the hammer just comes down.
Especially
from
the land
part
case
of
is
the
like
lands department
is 5
under
decades
the new
long.
leadership.
Yeah, it's 5 decades long, isn't
Right,
it? The
yeah.
scandal. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good weekend. Bye.